Blog Talk Radio.
Franchise interviews. From Easton, Pennsylvania to Sydney, Australia, you're listening to Franchise Interviews. Franchise Interviews. Welcome to Franchise Interviews. Franchise Interviews has been giving an up-close, behind-the-scenes look at franchising and entrepreneurship. Listen to interviews with franchisers, franchisees, franchise authors, franchise experts, and attorneys. And now, welcome your host, Marty McDermott, and Franchise Interviews.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to a very special edition of Franchise Interviews, where for over 12 years now, we've been asking the Franchipreneurs one-on-one. I'm your host, Marty McDermott. I'm the president of Franchise Interviews, and we have a great show today. We're meeting with Peter Roberts and James Jakobsen, the founders of ManageMowed Franchise Opportunity. At ManageMowed founders Peter and James just launched franchising for their subcontracting commercial landscaping concept. Based out of Edmonds, Washington, they've been in business for over 20 years, and we're speaking about their dynamic business journey, and that's coming right up on Franchise Interviews. Stick around because we have a great show.
The Stone Coat Franchise Opportunity. Are you looking for a unique and lucrative franchise opportunity? If so, take a look at Stone Coat. With a patented process which creates a true stone finish on almost any wall or ceiling, Stone Coat is a true game-changing product in the multi-billion-dollar construction industry. Stone Coat is applied faster, cleaner, and cheaper than conventional quarried stone, which saves both time and money. With advantages in remodel and new construction of both residential and commercial projects, Stone Coat is a true crossover product. The Stone Coat Franchise Opportunity provides a low startup cost, low operating expenses, comprehensive training, ongoing support, and no royalty payments. For more information on the Stone Coat Franchise Opportunity, go to www.stonecoatfranchise.com. That's www.stonecoatfranchise.com, or call us at 972-380-2700. That's 972-380-2700. Franchise Interviews. From Easton, Pennsylvania to Sydney, Australia, you're listening to Franchise Interviews. Franchise Interviews.
Hi, everyone, and welcome back to a very special edition of Franchise Interviews, where for over 12 years now, we've been asking the Franchipreneurs one-on-one. I'm your host, Marty McDermott. I'm the president of Franchise Interviews, and as we were saying earlier, we have a great show today. We're meeting with Peter Roberts and James Jakobsen, the founders of ManageMowed Franchise Opportunity. At ManageMowed founders Peter and James just launched franchising for their subcontracting commercial landscape concept. Based out of Edmonds, Washington, they've been in business for over 20 years, and we're speaking to them about their dynamic business journey. Hi, Peter. Hi, James. How are you? Welcome to the show.
Hey, Marty. Thanks for having us. Good morning.
This is my pleasure, Peter and James, and I'll be able to, at some point in the interview, distinguish both of your voices. I'll be able to tell who's Peter and who's James.
We'll test it at the end, and you'll see.
That's fantastic. I thought, you know what, when I was studying this franchise opportunity, I thought it was really interesting, and I thought, ManageMowed has an incredibly long history. I mean, this is going back over 20 years now. I thought maybe Peter and James, we can kind of go back to the beginning. You can tell, how this whole concept really came about.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, we started out pretty traditionally. It's basically 1999, building a traditional landscape company, in-house crews. Buying trucks and equipment and track hose and just growing and with a strong residential focus as well. It's kind of like a lot of landscape companies start. We consider ourselves back in the day, we consider ourselves the residential landscape specialist.
Right.
And we were building quite a workforce of, the first couple of years we were at 30 employees and 10 trucks and trailers.
Wow.
We thought we were building an empire in our early 20s.
At what point, Peter and James, did you decide to, did it click and you said, okay, you have all this experience, you probably systematized everything. At what point did you decide then to franchise the concept?
back in I think it was 2006 to 2008, we started. We actually were planning to scale up our business, and we were trying to figure out how. When we had all the employees and trucks and equipment, we thought this is going to be difficult to scale up with this kind of model.
Right.
We, dealing with the labor that landscape companies deal with, we thought that would be a difficult route to take. So we decided to change our business model around to what now is full subcontract model. We don't have no in-house labor. We don't buy tools, trucks, and equipment. So through the years of using this new model, we thought we would, in order to scale up nationally, we would start researching franchising. And 10 years ago, we actually went to a franchise expo, the franchise convention. It was in, I think, Miami at the time. And we met with a well-known consultant there. The guy told us, "You guys got a great model, but you're in debt, and starting a franchise company costs a lot of money." He said, "Wait until you get out of debt and build some cash flow. You're going to need $200,000 to $300,000 to get it going." So 10 years later, after the economy hit us pretty hard, and we had to kind of adapt and evolve our whole business model and refocus from residential to a commercial, full service commercial landscape maintenance company. We were able to kind of start the franchise process again. So that was basically a year and a half ago. We've been working with a well-known consulting firm and really helped us strategize and build this franchise model out. So it's been pretty exciting.
And it is different too, Peter and James. I have a family member on my wife's side, and he's had a landscaping business for years, and he's always, anytime we get together at family parties, his biggest pain is, he always talks about, as you were mentioning, Peter and James, the labor, and it's just always tough to find people, to work for his company. So when you're at a franchise show or at a convention or something like that, when somebody comes up to your booth and, the typical question they always say is, so what do you guys do? You're a landscaping franchise or something like that. How do you typically respond to them when they say, what is it you do? What makes you a little bit different from everyone else that's out there?
Yeah, this is James. I usually kind of jump in to say we're kind of freaks in a way compared to a lot of people in the green industry. We kind of turn the traditional model on its head. We're like, everyone's complaining about not enough labor in the country and the whole labor crisis. And in our heads, there's plenty of it. There's plenty of low-end labor. What's missing is the management piece of it. So you got these crews running around there with half their day is wasted. And so we're like, you know what? No. Instead of focusing on, where the heck is the labor, why don't we just go find it because it's right in front of us and then actually just manage it better? So that's what I tell people. It's kind of interesting because there's, in the U.S., there's over 500,000 landscape businesses. And they say approximately 75% of the landscape businesses are considered non-employers. They're basically owner-operators. So everybody and their aunt is a landscaper. It's such a underutilized workforce for us. A lot of these people, they kind of start their job as a landscaper and they work a summer or so, and then they decide that they know how to run a landscaping business. So I'm going to go to Home Depot, buy a mower, and all of a sudden you're a business. You're a landscaper. The problem is a lot of them, can do the landscaping. They can do it well, but not everybody can manage the business, manage the sales, manage the client relationships, and that's kind of where we came in, and we've been kind of perfecting that management model for the last 10 years.
How does technology play a role in the business today, Peter and James? I'm sure a lot has changed, over the last 20 years, and how you use technology. But how does it play a role in the business today?
Well, for us, we have our crews have a phone app. So it integrates back to our office, and it's all online. So every job we do is checked in and out with notes and photos, and then that people back in the office can check that out. And, it's all integrated. smooth. So yeah, I'd say it's night and day from when we started.
Technology is great. I mean, it definitely helps us manage people out in the field. They can take pictures and send it to the office.
Wow.
It's been great, but some companies over rely on their technology, and we believe that can hurt you. They believe that, okay, they've got the phone app, they've got the CRM, they've got all this, but they're losing touch with actually getting out in the field, walking around these properties, making sure the quality is looking good, meet your crews, walk around with them and look at the client's property and see how we can make it better. And go walk in and say hi to your client. If you rely too much on technology, which a lot of these national landscape companies are doing, they're missing out on a lot of this personal touch, and that's what we believe in our company. If you're in the office, you're not doing your client any favors. We get out and we visit our properties and meet our crews, and we believe that's the best way to do it. But still, technology is very important with our business, and we do have that set up nicely.
And by the way, we're right on the train tracks here in Edmonds, and I think a train might be going by here shortly. You hear a bunch of noise.
That's okay. That's okay. You'd be surprised on a podcast some of the things we've heard in the background. It's okay, Peter and James. That's fantastic. So you're
just like our business model, it's a unique office.
Right. That's right. We might hear some lawnmowers in the background too, right?
Well,
that's fantastic. That's great. Oh, that's great. Well, you're listening to Franchise Interviews, and we're speaking today with Peter Roberts and James Jakobsen, and they are the founders of ManageMowed Franchise Opportunity. And ManageMowed founders Peter and James just launched franchising for their subcontracting commercial landscape concept, and they're based out of Edmonds, Washington. And they've been in business for over 20 years, and today we're speaking to them about their dynamic business journey. Maybe we could talk a little bit about the industry, Peter and James. It seems like this industry, it's funny because we've been doing this podcast for 12 years, and this industry continues to grow, and it just seems to keep getting bigger. Are there any numbers on this industry? I mean, how big it is, or any estimates?
Yeah, I mean, this is over an $80 billion industry.
Yeah.
And then the commercial landscaping portion of it is considered to be one of the most lucrative sides of the industry.
Interesting.
On top of that, it's such a fragmented industry. We kind of talked about that already with, owner, operator, and landscapers. And I mean, when you tend to talk to people and you ask them about landscaping or their landscaper, 90% of the time they're frustrated.
Right.
Right. So
yes.
You rarely hear a good experience with the landscaper, and our goal within our company is to make it easy to work with. It's simple as that. We just want to be easy to work with. We try to simplify things. We don't need all these different processes, things to do. We want to simplify and make it easy. And a key component of that is just communicating. And if someone has an issue or a concern, they call us. We get on it right away, and that's our goal. Be easy to work with and get stuff done.
Yeah, and I think that's all that people want, Peter and James. When it comes to landscaping, but I like how you're mentioning earlier, as is that personal touch. I think sometimes that is lacking, isn't it? Sometimes you never even get to see the person who's providing your service, and I think that is so important. What's been one of the most interesting things that's happened to you since franchising this whole concept? I mean, you probably have a dozen stories we can talk about, but does anything stand out over the last couple of years?
Well,
that's always a stumping
if you
question.
Can come out here, we can have a beer, or so we could probably talk about a lot of things.
That's great.
Yeah, exactly. But really, I think over the years, the most interesting thing for us, besides deciding to scale our business nationally through franchising, is really the converting and adapting, evolving to a full subcontract model, and how successful that's been. We've been really excited about that, and it's working really well, and we really want to share that out in the industry and with other business owners, and we think that's pretty interesting for us.
It must be interesting for both of you, Peter and James, because it's funny if I asked you 20 years ago, if I said to either of you, did you see this concept going on a national level? It would be interesting to talk to you 20 years ago to see, what your vision was at the time and where it is today. It's really quite a spectacular story, isn't it?
Yeah, well, I definitely never would have thought 20 years ago that we'd be here. So it's funny how life goes.
That's terrific.
Well, imagining 20 years ago having thousands of employees and thousands of trucks doesn't sound very exciting to me. So once we created the subcontract model, we have no trucks, no equipment, no labor. It becomes a lot more exciting, and that's what's really allowed us to go the national approach.
Right. That's terrific. What types of characteristics do both of you gentlemen look for then? I mean, when you're meeting with a prospective franchisee, Peter and James, what do you typically look for? Because you're interviewing them as well, aren't you? You want to make sure that they're a match for the franchise system. Go ahead.
On top of everything, one of the top things we want to work with someone we want to work with.
Right.
We want to make sure we have that relationship with somebody that we know we're going to be building a business together with them and supporting them along the way. We want to make sure we like each other.
Right.
But we believe that the franchisee is going to need to have some sales experience and some management, a level of management as well. A lot of that can be trained, but you really need to have that sales background if you want to scale up this business. You need to be able to sell.
Yeah, and then combine that with, we say, kind of honoring the sweat. We're talking about low-end labor, and so you need to have the mentality of kind of respecting the sweat out there, where it's not selling software, it's not selling medical equipment. You're out there selling a service where people are out there, working their butts off, and so we definitely need people on the team who bring the mentality of, okay, I'm respecting these guys out there who are kicking butt, and it's not easy. So you got to bring that mentality with you.
And both of you gentlemen have been doing this, such a long time now. It's several decades. And I guess that helps you empathize with your franchisees. You were mentioning relationships with your customers, and now I guess it's going even deeper, isn't it, Peter and James? Because now you have these relationships with your franchisees, don't you?
Yeah, definitely. We're all about relationships, and we find that so many problems are just avoided and not even started if you're just not a jerk. If you're just a decent, nice, person, and that's definitely what we look for in building our team. It's just like, let's just go out there and kick butt and have fun and enjoy what we're doing and go from there.
If we can't have fun, what's the point?
Sure, absolutely. I think that's so important. What is the training like for your new franchisees? What would that be like, Peter and James? Once you decide that you do like them, they like you, and you say, okay, we have a match here. What would the training be like? Would they come out to corporate headquarters for that? Is that how it works?
Yeah, we actually have a 3-week training plan. It's 2 weeks at headquarters.
Okay.
It's about a week of in-class training. And then a week out in the field. You're going to be out in the field with our local account managers, and you're going to learn how to build your subcontract crew network. You're going to learn how to sell, how to close a deal, you're going to learn everything that you need to know. So when you go back home, you could implement all that and start ramping up quickly. Then we have a week actually back at their on-site location. We're going to spend a week there, and we're going to help you. We're going to have real life, estimate meetings that you're going to go on. You're going to walk in and try to close some deals. You're also going to meet some vendors and start building that.
Yeah, we want to get them ready for day one of opening, is they're ready to just go out there and start closing bids. By the time they're done training, I want them biting at the bit and just ready to go.
Right. That's terrific. You're listening to Franchise Interviews, and today we are speaking with Peter Roberts and James Jakobsen, and they are the founders of ManageMowed Franchise Opportunity. And ManageMowed founders Peter and James just launched franchising for their subcontracting commercial landscape concept, and they're based out of Edmonds, Washington, and they've been in business for over 20 years. And today we're speaking to them about their dynamic business journey. Maybe, because both of you have been doing this such a long time, Peter and James, you can describe for our listeners, what is, if there is such a thing anyway, a typical day like for a ManageMowed franchisee?
Yeah, that's a good question. They got to have their own office, so we're definitely not home based. So we're going to a co-working place like a Regis or a co-working office. Head there, start the day, check in probably for around an hour or so, and kind of you're logging into the sites you want to visit, crews you want to meet, and then after that you're out and about. You're meeting people, you're doing estimates, you're meeting crews. There's a lot of time out in the field. You can choose how much time you want to spend in and out of the office.
Sure.
So, and then usually ending the day back in the office, writing up estimates, taking notes, and making the plan for the following day.
We believe in work-life balance. With our business model, we have work-life balance and with the income to support it. The business does not decide, my time. It doesn't have control of my time, and that's what we believe is very valuable within our business model.
Yeah.
So our days when you're at work, you're getting things done. At the end of the day, you get to go home. You're not gonna get phone calls in the middle of the night saying that your deep fryer is leaking or there's a fire inside your place. It's a different franchise model that allows that work-life balance.
Yeah, and there's a lot of franchises out there, Peter and James, because we've had them on the show, like damage and restoration. It's sometimes quite common to get a call at 2 o'clock in the morning, and it's like you feel like you're on the job 7 days a week. And I like how you did emphasize, work-life balance, because I think that's probably, one of the many reasons why people get into franchising too, right? So they might be burnt out maybe in the corporate world or wherever they're working, and they just feel like they have no time for their family or anything like that. And I imagine that's probably why, your franchise opportunity provides that to them, to give them that work-life balance, which I think is so important. So now that both of you gentlemen have been involved in franchising, maybe you can give some advice to our listeners, Peter and James, because a lot of them are kind of like new to exploring franchising, and a lot of them don't know where to begin because there's so many opportunities out there, and they say, okay, well, where do I begin? My head's going to explode. What advice would you give to them in their quest to buy a franchise and everything that you've learned up to this point?
I'd say number one, take a look inside and say, what do I want to get into? There's broad categories, restaurant. There's so many restaurants in franchising. So do you want to hit a restaurant avenue, and then do you want to get into a service like we're offering? So do you get rid of the broad category first? Say, okay, I do want to get into a service, and then at that point keep narrowing it down. Am I interested in the green industry? Am I interested in what other what interests am I bringing with me to franchising? And that should help really target your selection of what franchisees would consider. It's all about. You don't want to walk into a franchise and where you don't have the interest or even the desire to be in that field. Just be a total waste for everybody.
I think you need to try to find out what you think would be fun, what you're going to be happy doing.
Yeah.
And have some passion about. If you have that passion, you need to have passion to grow a business. It sounds great, going to buy a business, invest in that. But in order to make it work, you have to be passionate about it and want to do it. So do that due diligence at the beginning. And there's so many out there you can go check out. Our model is definitely a little unique, so it's hard to really categorize us. Yes, we're in a service business, but we're in a service business that you don't need equipment, you don't need trucks, you don't need to hire that labor pool. So really do your deep dive and do your research and do what you're passionate about. Find something you're passionate about would be my key advice.
Right. I think that's terrific advice. So I can ask both of you because you're the founders of the company, Peter and James. I mean, where do you see ManageMowed? I mean, if you can look into a crystal ball, maybe like 3 to 5 years down the road, where do you see the organization?
Well, we'd really like to get our national presence. I'd like to be out over 50 plus units, and a lot of our franchisees, I believe, will become multi-unit franchisees. It's a easy entry to multi-territories. So we really want to expand, and actually the more areas we are in, the more we can offer our franchisees when it comes to our national clients. We have a national client base here, and when we expand to a new area, we can share that client pool. So in 5 years, I'd like to be 50 to 100 locations, and really expanding out with our client base.
I imagine in your business too, Peter and James, I mean, you get a lot of referrals, I mean, you do a great job, and, because people are always asking, do you know a great landscaping company? You know what I mean? And it kind of like mushrooms in a particular area, because you've been doing this such a long time now. I imagine that's how it happens, and I think that's terrific. So how do our listeners get more information on ManageMowed? Of course, the franchise opportunity itself, Peter and James, but even the service. Are there any websites that our listeners can go to get more information?
Yeah, I would check out ManageMowedFranchising.com.
Okay.
That's a great way. You can fill out a form on there. It's a great way to submit your information. We're going to give you a call. We're going to send you an email with some more information. Set up a phone call, and that's ManageMowed. It's MOWED. It's kind of a play on words. So ManageMowedFranchising.com.
That's terrific.
And if you really want a personal touch and you feel like calling me, I'm happy to give you my number. It's
that would be
206. Yeah, 206-730-6381. I'd love to chat with people. So if anybody want to call or text me, that's another easy way.
That's terrific. Well, I've enjoyed having both of you on the show today, Peter and James, and I'd already like to invite both of you gentlemen back in another year or so as you continue to grow, because I think this is a great concept, and I look forward to speaking with you again.
Thank you. Yeah, it was nice chatting with you, Marty. We appreciate you having us on your show.
Thank you, Peter and James. This has been my pleasure. We'll be right back with more franchise interviews. Coming up on segment 2, you're going to hear what every franchipreneur needs to know before buying a franchise. We're going to play a clip from our popular Great Quotes in Franchising podcast right here on Franchise Interviews.
Are you one of those special people who are willing to go after your dreams and goals? Are you ready to fulfill that dream of owning your own business with the security of a proven brand? The opportunity to take control of your future and own a Rita's Italian Ice franchise is within your reach.
Rita's is seeking success-oriented individuals who are ready to make a change in their life, and Rita's offers unparalleled training and support to assure your success. And did you know the frozen treat industry is a recession-proof industry, and there are Rita's in 23 states currently with 540 stores open. Rita's Italian Ice has been around for 25 years and is listed as a top-performing franchise by the Wall Street Journal.
Now here's the really good part. Rita's Italian Ice is a unique and amazing taste treat. It's smoother than a snow cone, and it combines ice with real fresh fruit. The real fruit adds dramatically to the taste, and it comes in over 40 flavors. The ice and fruit are mixed on site and made fresh daily, and it is delicious.
You'll want to know more about this exciting and successful franchise opportunity. Go to www.ownaritas.com and get all your questions answered. That's www.ownaritas.com to take control of your dreams and future today. You don't want to wait any longer to be a part of this adventure. www.ownaritas.com.
Today's Great Quote in Franchising is being brought to you by
Franchise Teacher.
Would you like to know how to franchise your concept or grow your franchise business?
Meet the experts at Franchise Teacher.
The goal of Franchise Teacher is to teach, coach, consult, and advise. The team of experts at Franchise Teacher will evaluate your business model and present you with a winning business strategy.
Franchise Teacher will help you decide whether or not your concept works and if it's franchisable. Franchise Teacher is proud to have over 30 years of experience in franchising as both franchisees and franchisors.
Franchise Teacher are developers of over a dozen franchise systems, which include brick and mortar as well as home-based concepts of nearly 3,000 combined franchise locations.
Whether you need to add more units or get more customers, Franchise Teacher can help. We will teach.
Franchise Teacher will help you learn our proven system.
Coach.
Franchise Teacher will help you provide a game plan to succeed.
Consult.
Franchise Teacher will make sure you stay on track.
And advise.
Franchise Teacher will help you learn from our over 30 years of experience in franchising as both franchisees and franchisors. Take advantage of our free, no-obligation phone consultation. Simply go to franchiseteacher.com or call us at 561-385-3032.
That's franchiseteacher.com or call us at 561-385-3032.
Hi, everyone. This is Marty McDermott, the president of Franchise Interviews, and welcome to another edition of Great Quotes in Franchising, where each podcast you get to hear a great quote in franchising. You know, we've been hosting Franchise Interviews many years now, and during that time, we've had some incredible quotes on our show. Today, you're going to get to hear from Nick Friedman, who is the founder of College Hunks Hauling and Junk and Moving Franchise Opportunity. And Nick said something really quite brilliant on our show that we haven't heard in over a decade of doing franchise interviews. We started speaking about the 4 F's of franchising, and interesting enough, we ended up with 5 F's of franchising as we were doing the interview with Nick. And, you know, in marketing, we talk about the 4 P's of marketing, which is product, price, promotion, and place. So I thought this was really brilliant what Nick said. So here we go with Nick Friedman, the founder of College Hunks Hauling and Junk Moving Franchise Opportunity. History. What, you know, the majority of our listeners, we call them, Nick, we call them aspiring franchipreneurs. What types of characteristics do you look for in your franchisees?
You know, what I like to say is there's 4 F's when considering a franchise, which is also, I guess, starts with a letter F. So, you know, there's 4 F's that come out of franchise. And I think this is what a prospective franchise should think of when they're considering what franchise they want to pursue. And this is, quite frankly, I think what franchisors should consider when they're evaluating a prospective franchisee. So the first F is fit. You know, do they fit? In other words, do they have transferable skills that can make them effective at this business? Have they done anything in their prior professional or personal lives that would make them be successful in this type of business? The second piece is the family side. In other words, does their family support them in them pursuing this endeavor, whether it's their husband or wife or kids or parents? You know, do they believe in them? Because you don't want things to get tough in their inner circle to say, I told you so. You want them to, you know, kind of cheer them on to get through it. The financial piece is important. In other words, are they capitalized to be able to invest in the opportunity, and do they have realistic financial expectations? And then the last F is the fun factor. You know, can we have fun working with this individual? You know, franchising is very much like a partnership, even though that's not typically called that. You got to have, you know, an alignment of vision and values to be able to enjoy working together. So that's really what we look for. You know, we want people that believe in the secret sauce that we've already developed. We don't want somebody to come tell us that they think it should be done differently. We want them to tell us that they believe in what we've created. And sure, we would, you know, want to continuously improve and encourage ideas, but not, you know, we want folks that believe in the system and are going to execute the system rather than trying to shortcut success by doing it, you know, doing it their own way. And I think that's, you know, really no different in our system than any other franchise model that is going to be successful long term. They need to really take into account those factors.
That's great, Nick. We have this great quotes and franchising podcast. Anytime we hear, Michael Gerber's been in there a couple of times, but we're going to put that one in there because I haven't heard that in over a decade, and I think that's great advice to our listeners. It's really fantastic because it's true. I mean, you could really, your business, you could teach to anybody, couldn't you? I mean, pretty much, but it's interesting in putting those factors in there, like family support, and even fun. I haven't heard that, but it should be an enjoyable business. And, because it is a stressful situation for the customers, I guess you got to be able to put a smile on your customer's face, don't you?
Absolutely. And I mean, as you know, there's over 3,000 franchise opportunities out there. So, what's going to separate one from the other? It's got to be something that you can enjoy. And I guess I'll grab another F out of there. I'm on a roll here. Fulfillment. Is it something that, we're going to be fulfilled doing day in and day out? Because I think franchising is a lot like a gym membership. If you join a gym and you've got fitness goals, you're getting access to all types of equipment, personal trainers, coaches, workout groups, but you still got to go and show up and do the work. So if you buy a franchise, you're getting access to the business model in a box. You're getting access to trainers, coaches, fellow franchisees that you can, hold each other accountable with, but you still got to show up and put in the effort to execute that business model. So that's where I think those factors come into play.
Once you decide that, you do like them, and they like you, Nick, and there is a fit, what is the training like? I mean, do they typically come to Florida for training? How does that work? If you'd like to hear that whole interview with Nick Freeman of the College Hunks Hauling and Junk Moving franchise opportunity, all you have to do is go to franchiseinterviews.com, go to our franchise interviews by category page, and then go to our home repair and improvements page, and you'll be able to listen to that whole show with Nick Freeman. It was really a fantastic interview. It was great to finally have Nick on the show. And lastly, we'd just like to thank everyone for making this podcast such a big hit. It's hard to imagine. We've been doing it now over 10 years, and it's just amazing to see where the podcast has gone. So thanks everyone for listening, and we'll see you again soon with another edition of Great Quotes in Franchising, sponsored by Franchise Interviews. Take care, everyone.
Franchise Interviews. From Easton, Pennsylvania to Sydney, Australia, you're listening to Franchise Interviews. Franchise Interviews.
Always read the fine print, they say. Well, I don't know who they are, but they sure don't work for Jack Lair Heating, Cooling, and Electric, because our no fine print guarantee means just what it says. There's no fine print to read on our contracts. Guaranteed. For emergency service, system maintenance, or to schedule an estimate for a new HVAC system, visit jacklair.com. That's jacklehr.com, an independent train dealer serving the Lehigh Valley area for 50 years. Disclaimer: there is no disclaimer because there's no fine print. Have a great day.